welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad to have you. This is just kind of my space to talk about knitting, projects I'm working on, things that inspire me, whatever comes to mind. I'm sorry I haven't been here in a couple of weeks. It's been a long 6 months, to be frank, but the past couple of months in particular have really started to grind on me. My work is kind of insane and burnout is real, and while I admit I actually filmed past couple of weeks, I just haven't really felt motivated to edit. So I'm sorry that we haven't been connected, but I admit it's felt good personally to take some time and disconnect. I've really been focusing on kind of the slow, more meaningful aspects of knitting and trying to kind of separate myself from the get it done attitude and just focus on the meditative aspects of this craft, which has been really inspiring for me. And I think it's always good to kind of take a step back from what you're doing and look at things from a different perspective. I think perspective is very humbling in most respects, and I think for me it's always good to remember it's not a race, it's a journey, and to just try and enjoy projects in the time that I'm working on them and not just as a finished object. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into a little bit of that. And speaking of finished objects, today I'm wearing my novice sweater. This is a petite knit pattern. I made this, probably a couple years ago now. I've gone through a bit of a slump in my knitting, where I just wasn't doing it much, or, knitting for me for a few years there was really just something I did in the winter or something I did kind of leading up to Christmas, and hadn't really transcended into being a big focus in my everyday, and me really taking it seriously as a craft and as a method of slow fashion. And so in a lot of ways this sweater holds a lot of meaning for me. It was kind of like one of those first jumps into that side of things. And so I admit I love the look of this sweater. It's really bold. I love yellow, I love black, and I have gotten a lot of wear out of this, but it is quite warm. This is made with an acrylic yarn, which at the time was really all I could afford and wanted to work with. But in hindsight, I do think that I'm not as comfortable wearing it now, just because it's hot, it's sweaty, it doesn't breathe at all, and it is starting to not pill quite, but it definitely could use a little bit of maintenance. You can't really see it, but I actually split the hemline. Originally this is knit totally in the round, and instead I cropped it a little bit closer to the natural waist, split the hemline, and did a slightly longer back portion and a small panel in the front, which I love because it does make this really easy to wear with different kinds or different cuts of pants, or to even tuck in, and it also adds a little bit of a breathable element to it. So and I wanted to wear this specifically because one of the, let's say, lost episodes that I filmed within the past couple of weeks, one of the things I did was I went through my yarn project basket, and it had been neglected for over a year, and I can pretty much date that pretty specifically, but we'll get into that, and was just a giant mass of unfinished projects, some finished projects that had just kind of ended up in there, and yarn, and there was quite a bit of just jumbled mass of that yarn that I ended up just trashing. Frankly, because I didn't care enough about any of it to really take the time to untangle and separate it. A lot of it was acrylic, or just didn't there was no real attachment there, right? But we're going to be going through my basket today, and I'll be showing you all of the works in progress that I pulled from that mess, as well as my other works in progress I'm currently working on. Still definitely in the middle of Christmas present season, and I've made some awesome progress I'd love to share with you guys. So yeah, lots of work in progress to go over today. A couple of new yarn things that have to do with those specifically. And as well, I'm also going to be showing you guys I recently started a bullet journal of sorts for my knitting. And this was inspired by a video done by Tiffany Liu, who is another YouTuber. She put that out probably a couple weeks ago now, and I saw it, and as a former / failed bullet journaler in the past, I really loved it. And while I haven't borrowed heavily from her setup or the way that she organizes it all, you know, because to me bullet journaling is something that one does for oneself, right? And that's kind of the practice, is that the idea is to intuitively create a journal that is simplistic, and speaks to the way your mind works, right? One person doesn't organize the same way another person does. So I will show you guys a glimpse at that. It's not the most expansive journal yet. I'm trying to mostly focus for the moment in that space on my works in progress, and just keeping up with what I'm working on week to week. So I kind of have a log and a better note-taking system for myself. Maybe in time and with a little bit more care, that journal might also develop to being about patterns I'm interested in working on, or rounding up yarn opinions, or you know, what have you. But I think I'll show you guys a little bit of that later. So if you want to go grab a cup of something, I think I'm going to go get water. We'll meet back and start going through this basket. Can you hear the bubbles? You can get a little bit of a better view of that sweater. And let's get cozy. Oh, I should mention as well where we are. So I had some comments on the last video I posted, and made the choice to move some things around. Actually, I took a whole day last week or the week before, and I literally just reorganized my whole house. Not top to bottom, mostly just moving furniture around. So we're actually in a corner of my bedroom right now, which does get really nice morning light, although I do have to dim it a little bit for the camera, but in here I can keep the dogs out, so it's a little bit quieter, though you might still hear them outside the door or even barking a little bit, and for that I apologize. So works in progress. I guess I've probably got, I would say, like 3 or 4 like really active projects right now, and then a lot of stuff that again I found in this basket while I was doing some cleanup, and have kind of pulled out to remind myself that I do in fact want to get these things done. So I guess first I'm going to show you, this has been my recent burnout project. As I mentioned, I'm feeling generally very fried and very tired from work, and so while I've been working on a lot of my Christmas present projects, those are mostly very lightweight yarns, small needles, and detail oriented, and so I went to the yarn store last week or the week before, and I picked up some very beautiful light blue mohair. This is a Rowan Kid Silk color. This is kind of their larger ball that they make. So I bought 2 of these to go along with this very beautiful, very similar icy blue yarn. So this, oh Lord, here we go. So this actually is from a local yarn processor here in Michigan, and they do it all. So I do like to support them whenever I can. This is one of their sport weight wools. This color is called Blue Jean Baby Queen, and I remember that's actually originally why I bought it, is I just loved this kind of light denim color, and I purchased this probably last spring, and I bought enough at the time to do around a sweater quantity, but I hadn't really quite had a project for it yet, except, well, I say that, but right around the same time I'd started this channel, I had started a project with that. My dog then ate the knitting needles that was holding that project together, and so I debated going back and finishing it, and then after doing some thinking, I decided instead to pick up that mohair and frog it and do something similar but not quite the same. So this is my current body island. This is the Jessie made very V-neck raglan sweater, which I am loving. This is such a cute pattern. It's a little bit wibbly wobbly right now. I cannot wait to block this and see how it lays. But I admit so I've kind of jumped around in this pattern. The way it works is it's knit flat, and then connected at the bottom of the V-neck. Then you separate for the body and the sleeves. And so originally I had done that as prescribed in the pattern and started to work the body, and very quickly realized that I was never going to know how long to really make the body until I went back in and put in the neckline. So that's what I did. I decided to stop the body, went back in, picked all of this up, put in the neckline, and then I started to do a sleeve instead, not really thinking about the fact that maybe I just wanted to go ahead and do a preliminary block while it was still on the needles. So at this point I feel like I will wait until I've done the other sleeve, block the garment as is, really see how it lies, and then decide how much length to add in the body. And I do think I'm probably actually going to do a similar effect to the sweater I'm currently wearing, and split the body into a front and a back half and work those as flat panels, just because this sweater has such a beautiful drape to it already. I am knitting a little bit larger than gauge, but it is making this very light, kind of airy, ethereal sweater, especially with the mohair added. It's just so soft, and I am obsessed. I've been working on this pretty non-stop this week, and so it's my goal over the next day while I'm off to finish the second sleeve so I can keep busting this out. But hopefully I should have this finished to show you next week. So absolutely in love. And I do love Jessie Made designs. If you've never checked her work out on Ravelry, she does really beautiful, modern inspired pieces, a lot of which are basics. And I think that's a really powerful thing to have in your wardrobe. You know, especially I think for kind of younger knitters, you know, we're looking at this as a way to enhance our current wardrobes or eschew kind of big fashion. And so for me, it's not a bad thing to have a lot of basic sweaters, as well as stuff that's a little bit more challenging and more of a keepsake. So excited to have this new basic in my wardrobe. So stay tuned for more of that beautiful thing. I guess I'll put finished projects I've talked about over there. Okay, so next big thing I want to show you, and it's kind of crazy to me that I don't think you guys have seen this yet, just because of the timing with the last video I actually completed and when I started it. But I know I discussed it quite a bit. And this is the poncho that I'm making for my mother. Just to remind you guys, these are the yarns I'm using for that. So this is a Wonderland Yarns, their Cheshire Cat, which is 100% superwash merino. And this color is called Tulip Roots, and is just lovely. And I am pairing this with, again, another Rowan Kid Silk Haze. And this is just in a lovely, cool taupe color. So I'm holding these two together, and I have been working on this gorgeous piece. So this pattern is called the Talin Poncho. Talin, I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. And this is a Noragon piece, and you can just see this is the front panel for the poncho. You can see that kind of forming now. This beautiful cable pattern. I'm a little bit more than halfway through the main chart, so this will double, and then I will do a couple more rows on the bottom just for the correct number of stitches, and then there will be a rib at the bottom as well. So just look at that gorgeous cable, and then there's also this beautiful cable detail that goes down the sides of the arms. And this is just been so much fun to work on. I admit I've taken a big break this week, like I said, but there was a minute there where I was obsessed with this and I was working on it every day, you know. And I think now I just need to get back in the swing of doing like 10 rows a day and just chip away at it until Christmas time. But this is such a soft, buttery yarn combination and so beautiful. I love the color and the way that this has turned out so far, and I just can't wait to see it done and give it to my mom because I know she's going to flip. So stay tuned for more of this gorgeous girl. Yeah, and hopefully, like I said, next week once I finish this other sweater, I'm gonna get back on the horse for this guy, because it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna feel so good to finish this and to see it in all of its glory. So yeah, I admit I haven't, this is one I wish I had more needles laying around so I could, and I've been thinking about just putting it on a string so I could try it on and really just see what the drape is like, but you know, who has time for all that? Not me. Not right now anyway. Ooh. Gonna be easy? Nope, it's gonna be hard. Yeah, okay. Push that guy to the side. Ugh. How are you? Are you really doing okay? I don't know how it is for you guys, but it's been a weird fall for me. Finally getting cold here in Michigan. And I kind of like it, but it's a little daunting to know that from here on out, it's just going to be winter for a few months. But just remember you're not alone, and that people care a lot more than maybe you think or realize. Okay, moving right along. So let me just back up to some of my fun found objects. So this was a found object. I can see it's falling off the needles as we speak, that I found in that project basket, this project basket, and is on the verge of being resurrected. Oh my gosh, get on the needles. Okay, so, oh Lord, dropping stitches left and right. Okay, so this is another petite knit pattern. This is the Anchor Light sweater, which I admit has this ribbed kind of yoke, so it does look a lot smaller than it is until it's blocked, and this has not been blocked. And this is Body Island to a T. I started this sweater last year. I actually bought this yarn at the same time I bought that blue yarn, that baby blue yarn. It's from the same local Michigan yarn processor, dyer, you know, it has just been living at the bottom of this basket. I'd started this originally for a present for my mother for Mother's Day of last year. So there's your time context. And I just got bored and shit, these fucking stitches. Sorry, excuse my language. I'm actually a sailor, for the record. And if you ever meet me in person, I'm gonna warn y'all that I can't keep my mouth shut. I say whatever comes to mind, and half the time it's pretty expressive, let's put it that way. But anyway, so my mother's birthday is coming up at the end of the month, Thanksgiving Eve, so it is a goal of mine to actually finish this and send it to her for her birthday instead, because I do feel bad that it has been so neglected and has just been languishing in the bottom of this basket. I had originally intended for this to be a short sleeve sweater, and I have not decided if that's still the case. Just, you know, with it now being November, and she lives in the Midwest as well, although we don't live near each other. And so, you know, it gets cold around here, and she might prefer sleeves. But anyway, I'm gonna chew on that a little bit and come back to this soon and finish it, give it the finish it deserves. So stay tuned for my Anchor sweater. And this next one, this was another one that was just languishing in the pile, and it might look familiar. Yes, this is in fact another novice sweater, striped as well too. Obviously I was very creative, feeling very creative at the time. This one, instead of being on Body Island, has moved to Sleeve Island. But yeah, I don't know why I didn't finish this. It's so close, and you know, to be honest, I do actually get quite a bit of wear out of this. So even though I don't think this is super to my taste style wise, I bet I would wear it, or I could certainly gift it to somebody. And I didn't mention before, but I'm pretty sure that both of these, I'd have to look on this one, but I'm pretty sure that both of these sweaters are in fact the extra small size knit in the pattern, that there was so much embedded ease that I just decided to knit the smallest size possible, but it does create a very oversized fit, so I don't regret it one bit. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, that I did the exact same for this one. So I need to do a little digging on both of these sweaters, kind of figure out where I was in the pattern so I can pick them back up, but these will be finished in good order. Now this next one is another work in progress. I haven't picked this up in the past week or so. I admit it's pretty tedious. This is a just gonna be a ribbed hat for my dad. This is Cascade yarns. I forget what it's called, but it's a wool blend. I want to say it's like 15% nylon or something along those lines. But I have this in two colors, this red and this yellow, and this is just a provisional cast on I put on. But I am actually going to pick up these stitches and basically knit the same hat twice from the same cast on edge, so that they can be flipped inside out and just be completely reversible. He requested these colors. I would not have picked them, but hell, if he wants to support sports teams, he may. So I admit this is kind of a slow goer for me, but good TV project to just kind of bust on through. And then this last Christmas present I'm going to talk about, you guys saw before, and I believe I had said at the time that I was fairly happy with this, but I don't know, man. So this is the March hair mitten, which I completed close to a month ago now. You can see the reverse as well. Never quite got in and did the thumb. But after giving some more thought, you know, originally I had decided that I didn't care that the pattern wasn't super obvious, but after some more thinking, I do think it's gonna bother me. And I just want to make sure that these are really enjoyed as well. And so I made the choice to go back and purchase a different purple. So this is a Madeline Tosh fingering weight, not fingerling, oh my gosh. That I am going to redo this and use this instead as the contrast color, which I think should be really beautiful with this kind of super varied goldy yellow. But a little bit of a bummer, you know, but it's also, I can't deny that it's a pain and pleasure thing, right? You know, I want it to be right, and I want it to look good. So if that means I have to take it all out and do it again, I will. So I haven't quite got to starting that yet, but I admit that this knit up so quick and I had so much fun doing this color work that I'm not really that worried about it. Been dithering a little bit, but you know, I don't know about you guys, but I thrive on deadlines. I love pushing things and saying, nope, it has to be done by then, and then waiting to do it until right before then. But you know, I do think that for me, it helps to have a little urgency. Even if, try as I might, I am sincerely trying to get my Christmas presents done ahead of time this year. Still got a month plus, month and a half, so I'm not that behind, but I admit I can like feel myself getting more and more distracted, and it's maybe a little bit of a problem. So I think I just have one more project, two more projects in here, and these ones are both quickies. This first one I had started last Christmas time and was making a big old knit stocking for my partner, which obviously was never finished. All I needed to do was take out this and put in a heel, as well as do some finishing work, obviously. But so I found this in the bottom of the basket. So embarrassing, really. But this will be finished by this Christmas. We are hosting this year. It must be perfect. No, I'm just kidding. But it will be finished in time for the holidays. And Lord knows that's, you know, I can bust that out in a night, you know, in front of the TV. So I just got to remember to do it. And this last one, I mostly just wanted to show you guys because I'm obsessed with it. I think it's so cute. This little sweater I made last year. I kind of went through a phase. I made a whole bunch of sweaters using this pattern. And this, I forget what it's called. I want to say it was a free pattern though. I will link it in the description, as well as the patterns for all of the projects I'm talking about today. The ones that have patterns anyway. But I knit a bunch of these and did a ton of unique color work patterns with them. I really enjoy sometimes just like making my own charts, especially with color work, and doing these kind of one-off, one-of-a-kind pieces. And so this is one of those. So yeah, you can see the back and the front. This really fun kind of intarsia cow print. And I admit, again, this is an acrylic yarn, so I don't know how much I'd actually wear it, but it is so cute. Unfortunately, what it is also is full of unfinished edges. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate weaving in ends. In fact, if somebody would like this sweater, it's definitely like an extra small. I will send it to you and you can weave in the ends. Because as cute as it is, I just don't know if I have it in me. Can you hear my dog freaking out in the background? Every time somebody sneezes, they erupt. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll feel motivated to finish this. And that is why it is in this basket, is so that it is in sight and remembered, as well. And that goes for all of the things I've just gone over. You know, I feel like I'm definitely one of those people that makes piles of things and then moves them around and then forgets where they are. And trying really hard to be intentional here and put some extra thought and effort into the organizational aspect of all of this. So I guess that's really all of my works in progress, but getting back to the organization, why don't I show you guys a little bit of this knitting journal. Alright guys, this is my knitting bullet journal, and this is just a super basic grid dot journal. I buy them in 3 packs from Amazon. I can leave a link down below to the ones I usually buy. And like I said, I've done some bullet journaling in the past. I admit I have a really hard time with routine. And so for me, a lot of times I take more enjoyment in the setup and the creation of the pages, and don't actually do a lot of journaling. So this is kind of perfect for me in a way, because I don't necessarily have to keep up with it on the daily. More than anything, this is a landing place for pages or projects that I'm working on, and not a real log on my daily habits, right? So this is just a minimalist kind of cover design I did, just kind of emulating yarn. And you can see my table of contents, my in-progress knits. And then on the second page, I have my current list of weekly roundup pages I've been working on. And I will probably add other sections in here if I start kind of doing more official or different kinds of things in this journal. But right now I've really just been focusing, like I said, on projects and on weekly entries, just to kind of round up what I've been working on. And then so this is one of my project pages. This is for the Tulin poncho, and you can see I've just got a couple of base things down here: the pattern, author, the yarn I'm using, when I started it, who's it for, and some notes. And I did add which needles I've used to some of the later pages. And then I just got some general notes that I've been working on and adding to as I've been working on the project. So I've got a number of these. This one was finished, so I did a separate entry specifically about finishing and my overall thoughts. And then for a couple of these, you can see I've already frogged them. And if you go back to the table of contents, I also put in little notes if they were finished and frogged. Just to kind of get a better idea. And I would love to see this all kind of fill out with separate notes as I go, and that way I know I'm really working through the projects I have and not continuing to cast things on and not finish them. So yeah, so far, like I said, I really have liked this kind of concept, and I've been trying to add in as I go and make sure that everything I'm currently working on is logged. Just because I'm also pretty bad at taking notes. I tend to alter most of my patterns at least a little bit, and like this one, for example, this is the page for the very V-neck raglan, and what did I do? My gauge was large, so I actually didn't do the full number of increases specified in the pattern. Now that I've also finished the sleeve, I want to make sure I do some notes about how many rows, so I can copy that when I start the second sleeve. And it's just basic stuff, but I admit I usually just kind of make it up, and while I don't mind that for myself, I know for you guys it's a little hard to see my projects and know that they're going to be different than what you would make using the same pattern. So I want to help me help you, right? By trying to keep some better notes. So yeah, and I have gone ahead and I added in as well. This is the anchor sweater for my mother, as well as that novice sweater. And I'm not quite finished this one yet, just so that I, again, have another reminder in the front of mind that these are things I'm going to finish, right? And that's the goal. Well, I suppose that's all I really have to share with you guys today. I'm so glad to be here with you all. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and are comforted by your own knitting or crafting or whatever practices that you do on a daily basis to meditate and to connect with your creative self. Thank you so much for watching and joining me. Have a great day.